need to explain the backstory behind the movie. The film was directed by Elaine May in what would be her final directorial efforts. It was a film that Warren Beatty had been wanting to make for years, ever since Elaine May helped write his film, Heaven Can Wait. Oh my god, the irony of that title is so thick you can choke on it. Anyway, Beatty, having not made a movie since Reds in 1981, decided he wanted May to direct this film after helping him with Reds. He wanted to do a variation on the Hope and Crosby Road to Morocco movies. He came up with the idea for the film and decided to get his buddy Dustin Hoffman to work on it. These were two pretty big stars at the time, both Oscar-winning actors in their own right. How did it go wrong? The film started production in 1985, and the film didn't get finished until 1987. Why? Production costs were outrageous because of the schedule setbacks, desert environments did not help at all. The film cost way more than it should have. It was another Heaven's Gate scenario. The film cost way too much to make, and then died a slow death in the box office, only for critics to pan it and call it one of the worst films ever. Critics hated this film, with Siskel and Ebert calling it the worst film of the year. Damn, worse than Jaws the Revenge and Leonard Part 6? Better not be, or else I'm in for a long, shitty ride. Since then, Ishtar has become synonymous with box office flop, or bad movie, and is still listed as one of the worst movies ever made. However, over time it has grown a cult following. A very dedicated one, in fact. There's even an Ishtar fan site. Brad Jones, the cinema snob, one of my favorite online critics, admitted he liked Ishtar.
I like Ishtar. I don't mind Ishtar at all.
And there was even several famous filmmakers who liked the movie. Quentin Tarantino, director of Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs, likes the movie. Edgar Wright, who directed one of my favorite comedies, Hot Fuzz, likes the movie. Martin Scorsese, one of the greatest directors of all time, including making this fucking movie, which is my favorite movie of all time. And he says that it's one of his favorite movies of all time. I don't know whether I should go in with good expectations or bad ones. It can't be that bad, can it? So the film is about a singing duo named Rogers and Clark. They're like the poor man's Simon and Garfunkel. No. They're the poor man's Hall & Oates. So they're a singing duo that doesn't seem to have much luck. Why, you ask? Because they're fucking terrible singers and songwriters. Sheesh, I'd rather listen to than most of these songs. They're somehow booked for a gig in Morocco to be lounge singers. They go to Ishtar, which is a fictional country, by the way. Clark, not being very bright, gives his passport to some woman who flashes him for some reason.
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me.
Flashes him? This is just a stupid running joke where Simon and Oates don't think that she's a woman. Anyway, it turns out that now Clark can't leave because he doesn't have his passport, and it takes a while to get a new one. Lyle goes to the gig without him. Meanwhile, Charles Grodin plays a CIA agent.
Damn it!
Charles Grodin, why did you choose this movie? Of all the scripts to pick, you picked this one. This was Dustin Hoffman. Did Laurence Olivier torture you to make you appear in this movie?
Relief, discomfort. Now, which of these I next apply, that decision is in your hands. So, take your time. Tell me, is it safe? Stop.
This movie is just unfunny, boring, and very poorly made. It cost a fortune to make, and I don't see the budget for the movie anywhere other than the fact you got two big stars at the time to appear in it. Where did the money go? Did the greedy investors steal all the money?
We've got to have money.
Maybe this was some scheme cooked up by Max Bialystock and Leo Bloom, where if the movie was an enormous flop, they would make me even more money off of it than if it was a hit.
Leo, say you'll join me! I'll do it! My God, I'll do it!
Only, unlike in that movie, the producers, the scheme worked this time a little too well. So, after actually watching Ishtar, a movie which I had heard horrible things about. It's actually not that bad. Yeah, it's no One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Taxi Driver, or The Godfather. But it's not as bad as something like Freddy Got Fingered or Jaws the Revenge. In fact, of the movies I've reviewed this season, this was one of the more watchable ones. There were parts I laughed at. Songs were hilariously bad. I liked the plot of two singers who are down on their luck and trying to hit the big time. Can't. It's far from the worst movie ever made. In fact, I actually enjoyed some of the movie. However, it's not a good movie. There are cringeworthy jokes in there. For every joke that hits, there's ones that miss. The movie is like fascinating to watch though. It's bad, but completely watchable. There are some dull parts though. It doesn't belong in Hell's Video Store. It's not bad enough. It's a movie that deserves to be studied. It's so... My question is how these actors recovered after this movie, though. Hoffman's next movie, Rain Man, got him an Oscar. Grodin appeared in Midnight Run, which is a comedy movie that's actually good. Warren Beatty, on the other hand, didn't appear in a movie again until Dick Tracy 3 years later. They all did better than Elaine May, though, who never directed another movie again, and didn't write another movie again until 8 years later. The movie is terrible, but is it the worst movie of all time? I don't think it's the worst movie of all time. I don't even think it's the worst comedy movie of all time.
Rich, speaking of terrible ideas, the Star Wars holiday special was a great idea. What was a terrible idea was Ishtar.
Oh, little daughter,